Hey everyone, this is Kenneth here again. This is going to be a quick walk over to the trail that my friend Bill and I had to walk on when I did that, when we did the Show Me Your Stake Challenge back in the first part of November. And it's taken me that long to decide to go ahead and publish this video. It's the first video I filmed, even though I have a video saying introduction to YouTube, and I described some of the problems that I've got. It was actually the Show Me Your Stake Challenge video that Hayes Outdoors put out, and the challenge he started. That was the trigger for me to do that camping trip, and to also do the Show Me Your Stake Challenge and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do a YouTube channel. You only live once. You only live once. There's no reason to keep putting it off. There's a saying that I've memorized. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and a big fan of Frank Herbert and the Dune series. And in the movie, Kyle MacLachlan's character, Paul Atreides, is told this phrase: fear is the mind killer, fear is the little death that brings about total obliteration. And it's one of the little catchphrases, the little mantras I say to myself all the time. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to walk back out, show you that trail, because Billy and I'd never filmed before, and Billy had not filmed anything like that before, and so we didn't film any of the trail. I talk about how narrow the trail was, how steep it was, and how dangerous it was, especially for me with that heavy overpacked. My pack was maybe 40 or 45 pounds. I can't remember now. I should have written that down. And it was off balance. It made me off balance. So it was very dangerous. And with this lack of tactile sensation and loss of haptic sensory awareness, it wasn't the smartest thing to do. But the last time I had come through here was maybe the previous year, maybe 2017, with my friend James, and we had no problem. Well, I had a problem, but nothing like this. But it was a day hike, so we didn't have on big backpacks, and it didn't get lost. At the end of this hiking trip, it started raining, and somehow I got turned around on the way back, and we ended up back at our starting point, the campsite, the original campsite from where we sat out. And it was starting to rain, and I started to chill, and so did Billy. I had a little bit of rain gear. I had a rain jacket, and my 511 pants were kind of water resistant, not water repellent or waterproof, but I got worried, and I'm going to try to find that footage. It was on like a GoPro wannabe camera, and I don't know if I still have it or not. If I do have it, I'll put it on this video. If I don't, just know that at the end of the video, at the end of the trip, it was bad. And crazy enough, if we hadn't have gotten turned around and went the wrong way, made a big circle basically around the end of the peninsula, we would never have ran across the one boat that was out that day. It was very cold that morning. It had started to spit snow, and we were both soaked, so that's why we had to continue to move. I didn't want either of us to get hypothermia. That would have been a dangerous situation, and neither one of us was looking forward to the hike back. And it was dangerous. But we saw this one. When we came back to the original campsite, or the campsite, I shouldn't keep saying original, but when we turned around and got back to the original campsite, that feeling of just, oh God, how are we going to make it out of here? It was overwhelming. And then it kind of clicked that, hey, this has become very serious very fast. We've got to get out of here. And I said, we can't stop. We've got to keep walking. So we started to head back, to do the hike that would have taken us probably 2.5 to 3 hours to make back. and it was extremely strenuous on me, and also on Billy as well. But I heard off in the distance of Billy and I looked at each other and thought, it's just a boat going by, we'll never make it. And I finally said, to hell with it. We walked as fast as we could back to the shoreline, and it was the one and only boat that was out that day, at least on this side of the lake. And when he brought us back to the boat ramp, his was the only vehicle, and the only vehicle with a trailer. So he was the only boat out. And so, statistically speaking, again, that should have been a very, 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 very bad experience. But luckily for us, that guy was out there. And I definitely thank God for that, for that guy being there. So I'm walking into the woods now. As you can see, it's darkening up a little bit. This is the starting point. It's a public park here in Southwest Virginia. And this is where the real hike starts. And I'm not going to film very much of this. I just wanted to come out. Billy and I had talked about the problem that there really wasn't hardly any footage, and even some of the other more famous YouTube bushcraft guys, for instance Joe Robinette, some of his very first videos were just 9-10 minutes of footage. Oh, I'm having a hard time here. It seems like a small, as you can see, even the smallest of things, branches, sometimes can give me a problem. You can imagine how all this out here can give me a problem. Whereas before, before the tumor, I would run up this path. Crazy, I know. But you can see how narrow it is. And the day we went, it was a bit muddy out. It was muddier, I should say. But it just drops down. And at all. I had the problem of the pack being too heavy and kind of leaning me over, but it wasn't until we got past this point right here. Now the trail is still fairly decent. Okay, now this is where it starts to get fun. After you go across these trees right here, these down trees, it got slippery, and as you can see, I don't have my tripod or any other gear with me today, so I didn't do any cool shots of me walking toward the camera. I've actually got a ride here. As you can see, that gets narrow, and as soon as you go past the other tree off there in the distance, it drops away to maybe 6 inches wide in certain places. So I had to take my backpack off and I had to pick it up and move it to the left. Pick it up, slide it to the left. And that went on for every bit of 45 minutes. From maybe 9, 10, all the way up until I was about 14. I was bullied mercilessly because I was the chubby kid. I used to waddle. I was so fat. But then I lost all the weight around the 83, 84, especially 84, 85 years. That's when the 84 was when the first Karate Kid movie came out, and that was inspiring for me. And in the end, sometimes bullying. It could be said that bullying actually saved my life in the end, because by losing that weight and studying martial arts, I actually developed the work ethic to lose weight and have a pain tolerance, a tolerance for pain, and sometimes that's what you need to go forward. And I'm going to talk to hopefully the people at my alma mater, and maybe we can all get together. They can, as the Alumni Association at Emory and Henry College, we can get together and try to help people that have depression, whether it be PTSD, whether it be because of peer pressure, etc. And also I'd like to start, that's terrible right there, gosh. That sun is just everywhere, there we go. And eventually I want to start working with people on a regular basis that have, you know, cancer, brain tumors, MS, taking them out on camping trips and things like that, because in the end, let's all try to be better to one another. If we can do nothing else in life, you know, each day we all have problems and burdens and bills and etc., but try to be a little bit better each day to your fellow person. Sometimes it's hard. There's a lot of people out there that are meanies, if you want to call them that. I can call them other words, but just try to be good to each other. You know, the Buddha 2,500 years ago, supposedly in the sutra, said that, you know, life is suffering, and because of that, try to find more happiness than pain in life. And that's what I try to recommend to people, is to, you know, and religion doesn't even factor in. Well, it does, but it doesn't. Try to be a good person, regardless of whatever religion or ethnicity you are. Just, you know, instead of frowning at the next person you see, give a smile. Smile at them. A simple word, a simple gesture sometimes can have more effect on a person than you possibly can imagine. I remember kind words told to me 30 years ago. You know, maybe it might have been from the martial arts instructors, one of them, or a friend who, a word of encouragement here and there. Always remember, you know, words do hurt. I mean, you know, the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never can. They can't, but they can drive you to harm yourself with a stick or a stone or a rifle. So, right speech, which is one of the Eightfold Path rules on the Noble Eightfold Path to Enlightenment. Right speech. And even in Taoism, we talk about, you know, to talk little is natural. You know, that goes to a lot of different things. One is that if you're not talking a lot, you're not talking about other people, you're not gossiping. And for everyone that's watching this video, I apologize for going, it's still a little new, you know, knowing that I'm going to film this and upload it, and everyone, all of my friends here and the friends that I made over in China, etc., will be watching this. And when I upload this in an email to my alumni association, all the alumnists and former professors that I once had will look at this. And so there, and again, fear is the mind killer. Don't worry about things, just keep on going. Don't let doubt creep in. Even Bruce Lee in the Tao Te Ching, or not the Tao Te Ching, but in his Tao Jeet Kune Do, talked about, you know, each day do something to increase your self-worth, or to keep that self-worth from turning inward. He recommended, as a quick way, exercise, because exercise is a quick and not easy way, but it's a quick way to gain that daily self-worth, because you don't want that energy and that positive feeling to turn inward. Because when it turns inward, that's when, as we nerds know, that leads to possibly anger, and then anger leads to hate, and hate leads to the dark side. So, words of wisdom from Yoda. Okay, we're coming out of the park now, and I'm going to use this as filler opening. I'm going to edit it down a little bit, of course, but hope you enjoyed this. It's a little different, I know, but I wanted to, and it's out of sequence. You know, there was that introduction, like I said, there was that introduction to YouTube that I filmed. And so everything is a bit out of sequence right now. That's why I wanted to, this is the first video I filmed, and I wanted to go ahead and quit talking about it and get it out and publish it, get it done. And the rest of them can be more sequential.